investigations from federal entities. Those entities, as we know, can take anywhere from 2 months to 5 years. We feel this.
Gonzalez and Carlisle's deliberate actions to block Henyard from reaching a quorum reveal a deep distrust and a concerted effort to prevent her from advancing her agenda. Their decision to delay until the time limit for Henyard to appoint a replacement for the vacant trustee seat demonstrates a strategic move to thwart her power grab. The repeated failure to achieve a quorum underscores the deep divisions and lack of trust within the township board, further highlighting the fractured leadership under Henyard's rule. Hen's campaign is a chaotic mix of political maneuvering and bizarre performance art. Take, for example, the infamous Thanksgiving turkey giveaways. While some saw it as a generous gesture, critics dismissed it as a blatant attempt to distract from the township's growing financial troubles. Why the rush to get everyone to a meeting? Christopher Gonzalez has called out Hen's deliberate efforts to push through key agenda items without a quorum. The turkey giveaway? Pure political. Or theater.
Spending of tax funds, I think that's the biggest.
Snow removal under Henyard was a complete disaster. Dalton residents were left to navigate icy, treacherous streets, while she seemed more focused on social media than actually addressing the crisis. This wasn't just incompetence, it was a blatant disregard for the safety and well-being of her constituents, forcing them to fend for themselves in hazardous conditions.
The meeting wrapped up early because 2 trustees, as you mentioned, did not show up, Chris Gonzalez and Carmen Carlisle. Without them, not enough board members were present to make.
Get ready for the most chaotic political race of your life. Tiffany Henyard, the self-proclaimed super mayor of Dunn, Illinois, is running for re-election, and it's absolute mayhem from start to finish. Imagine a reality TV show colliding with a political thriller with a heavy dose of pure drama. Henyard's support has plummeted to a jaw-dropping single-digit percentage. Yes, you read that right. She's under FBI investigation, facing an eviction lawsuit, and has lost the backing of nearly all her constituents. But despite it all, she's still convinced she can win. This isn't just a political race, it's a desperate scramble for survival, and you won't want to miss a second of it. Age's relationships with local churches and businesses are in shambles. Numerous business owners have voiced their frustrations over her obstructionist tactics, making it nearly impossible to secure permits or licenses. One trucking company owner, Lawrence Gardner, even claimed his business was shut down after he refused to make a large donation to H's campaign. He went so far as to compare her to Nino Brown, the infamous drug kingpin from New Jack City. This isn't just bad governance, it's outright intimidation. Public outrage is reaching a boiling point. Dunn residents are fed up with the constant drama, financial mismanagement, and neglect that have defined life under H's leadership. "This is an embarrassment to Dunn," one resident shouted during a public meeting, a sentiment shared by many. They're not just dissatisfied, they're furious. "She's power-hungry and doesn't care how much she drains the area of resources," another resident said, reflecting the widespread sense of betrayal. Henyard's grip on. Then there's the FBI investigation, the elephant in the room, casting a long shadow over H's re-election campaign. Federal agents have issued subpoenas for records related to the finances of Dalton and Thornton Township, with allegations ranging from the misuse of taxpayer funds to questionable contracts. Henyard has adamantly denied any wrongdoing, but the investigation continues, raising serious doubts about her political future. This isn't just about winning another term. It's about avoiding potential criminal charges. Dalton has become the epicenter of political dysfunction, financial mismanagement, and public outrage. Henyard's re-election bid is a desperate attempt to cling to power and dodge the consequences of her actions. Meanwhile, frustrated residents, fed up with her antics and broken promises, are demanding change. One YouTube comment:
"Schedule board meetings. I don't care if you agree or disagree, but you must show up to say yes or no."
Captured the sentiment perfectly. The key is for residents to get out and vote. Henyard won by only a few hundred votes last time, showing how fragile her position really is. If voter turnout is high, she could easily be unseated. Another comment pointed to a larger issue. It speaks to the systemic failures that allowed Henyard to rise to power and remain in office despite countless red flags. Now, the real question is, How did things get this bad? With mounting legal battles, escalating financial issues, and widespread public disdain, H's re-election prospects are looking increasingly bleak. Her attempts to shift blame, bizarre campaign tactics, and blatant disregard for her constituents' concerns have only fueled public outrage. This isn't just a political race, it's a referendum on her entire time in office, and the stakes couldn't be higher. If the board doesn't show up, we can't pay bills. We can't handle this. These words echo the dire financial mismanagement under her leadership, and let's not overlook the eviction lawsuit. Henyard and her boyfriend, Cale Woods, are facing legal action for unpaid rent. Their landlord, Janetta Ho, a former friend of Henyard's, described the situation as being between a rock and a hard. Like a minor personal issue actually highlights a much bigger problem: H's consistent disregard for responsibility and accountability. It's a perfect example of her chaotic, reckless, and ultimately self-serving leadership style. Beyond financial scandals and public backlash, H's leadership has been described as autocratic and confrontational. Multiple sources report that she has used the police department to intimidate opponents and silence dissent. One Dalton trustee, Kate Belcher, claimed that former police chief Robert Collins admitted Henyard directed him to target specific individuals. These allegations paint a troubling picture of a mayor more focused.
Hey guys.
Very disturbing to hear these things or to kind of see some of the receipts that appear to be connected to it. And I think the taxpayers really
On clinging to power than serving her community. The frequent presence of a large security detail, often funded by taxpayers, only reinforces this perception. Reports indicate that the cost of this security detail has exceeded 41 million. An extraordinary burden for a small town already struggling financially. Henyard's actions continue to fuel the growing call for change. The question is, will the residents of Dalton finally put an end to the chaos?
This term stopping the meeting. We just want to get some responsible adults, communication and try to do the right.
The irony of Henyard's situation is impossible to ignore. While she presents herself as a strong, capable leader, her actions continue to erode her credibility. Lavish spending, questionable contracts, and ongoing legal battles have all contributed to the image of a mayor increasingly disconnected from the realities faced by everyday Dalton residents. The fact that she's running for re-election while simultaneously facing eviction for unpaid rent only intensifies the perception of hypocrisy. It's a stark contrast between her self-proclaimed image as a powerful, decisive leader and the reality of a mayor struggling to manage her own finances, let alone the town's. This dissonance between her public persona and personal life has caused irreparable damage to any remaining public trust. Recently, court reversals of some of Hen's staffing decisions have further underscored the erosion of her authority. A Cook County court invalidated her appointment of Michael Smith as executive assistant to the special counsel. This isn't a minor setback, it's a significant blow to her already